this issue. I do believe it is a serious adversarial relationship now that has many of the characteristics of the original Cold War, for all the fundamental differences, and we ought to be focusing on what those implications are going to be for other areas where we need to be cooperating and dealing with a world of nuclear weapons, non-proliferation issues, cyber warfare, problems of climate change, and a host of other things. If the U.S. and Russia are now treating one another fundamentally as adversaries, no ambiguity about it, and I believe that is the case, then it's going to have enormous implications for both the foreign policies of the U.S. and Russia, but for international politics in general. So while it's being driven by the Ukrainian crisis, we need to step back and take a larger perspective on what's happening. But I don't believe, as Steve suggests, that we are on the cusp of war with Russia. The problem is that if the conflict continues to escalate within Central Europe, not just around Ukraine, but other parts of this area, then indeed we do begin to raise the specter of military confrontation between the two sides. But I don't think we're there now.
I just want to tell the viewer, the little box that you saw earlier on your screen, squeezed to the side, that was President Barack Obama at Joint Base Andrews, coming back from the West Coast, where he is on a Air Force One just landed. He was on a fundraising trip. He's now on Marine One. The president's just coming back, and he's getting lots of criticism for this. And speaking of the president, Matthew, when you think about, how much the power of these two countries, of the U.S. and Russia, how high does the hostility level have to raise in order for people to be concerned about a possible war?
I think the biggest reason for high levels of hostility right now is frankly that no one, and I include in this, by the way, the Europeans, but also the Russians, has a long-term strategic game plan. We backed into this crisis over Ukraine. Ukraine was marching steadily towards European integration at the same time that it hasn't really dealt with the kind of after effects of the chaos of the post-Soviet collapse. It hasn't reformed its economy. It hasn't established really stable, balanced relations with Russia. And I think the United States hasn't played a particularly productive or helpful role in this. We've just weighed in politically. We've sent our leaders down to Kiev to give big speeches, and we've occasionally thrown a few $1 million an assistance program here or there, a joint exercise with NATO. We've never really had a sustained commitment to Ukraine. The one thing that would be a game changer in this region, I wish I would see it, I'm very skeptical that I will, that's a long-term, sustained American commitment to the development and the success of Ukraine. But I think this is going to be short-lived, and it's going to be a bunch of fireworks where mostly Putin is the bad guy, and we're in a confrontational posture. But